Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I watched this movie, The Kings of Summer, because I was doing a little bit of research on Kong Skull Island, because I'm probably going to go see it this week. And I looked at the name of the director, and I was just kind of like, who the fuck is this guy? So I looked him up, and the only things that he's done is one stand-up special, and this is his first movie. And this is a common trend where they'll take a director who made like a splash in the indie world or something like that, and then they'll throw a bunch of money at him just to see what they can do with like a large-scale story. Like James Gunn is a big example of that. He never really did anything big, and then they just all of a sudden threw Guardians of the Galaxy at him, and that movie turned out to be fucking awesome. And I think Colin Trevorrow with Jurassic World, like bunch of other directors. This is not anything new. And after watching this movie, I have a lot of faith in Kong Skull Island now. I loved this movie so much. And it's available online. You can rent it on YouTube. The basic premise is that you got two best friends and they have one other kid that kind of tags along with them. They decide that their home life sucks because their parents are retarded and they just decide to go off into the woods and just make a life for themselves. Like they have their own like kind of makeshift crappy house and then they have to get all their own food. They basically try and man versus wild this shit. And in so building that home in the forest, they become men. Now, I don't know who any of these three kids are, but they all did a pretty good job, so hopefully they have careers going forward. The only big name that anybody will really recognize maybe is Nick Offerman, who plays Ron Swanson on Parks and Rec. He plays the main kid's dad, and they kind of like have issues, and that's the whole reason why the movie like sparks off its plot in the first place. And that is a very relatable scenario where like father and son are at that point where son doesn't quite need father anymore, and he starts to realize that, and they start to butt heads. But we all know that's just kind of a symptom of a child becoming a person with their own views and personalities and whatnot. But yeah, other than him, there's like a few comedians that you might recognize, but like no like big name actors really that I can remember. And for the vast majority of the movie, most of the acting performances were pretty good. Except the main kid's older sister has a boyfriend, and to be honest, he was actually pretty fucking terrible. He's like this overly ass-kissy, like annoying, like wannabe relatable boyfriend, but he's just not. But other than that guy, everybody was pretty good. I think my favorite character in the movie though is the little one, Biagio, because he's seriously autistic and he just says some of the most whacked out shit that you just would not expect at all throughout the movie. But ultimately, he is like this really good person that really wants well for everyone. And that way, he's kind of like this loyal, lost robot puppy dog. The soundtrack was surprisingly good. I thought it was just gonna be like all this, like some wannabe hipstery bullshit that only like 3% of people would actually be into. But no, the music was actually pretty catchy and I actually found it pretty enjoyable. And also fitting, depending on the scene. The ambiance of the song actually played to whatever the mood was of either the main character or just like the whole group that was on screen at that time. And there are some parts of this movie that kind of portray like the emotional ramifications of jealousy, and I thought that was portrayed like perfectly. And honestly, at the end of this movie, I like had this big smile on my face because I found it so relatable. Like I felt like I was 15 again. It was kind of like Stand By Me in that respect, but not nearly as harsh. Like nobody had like physically abusive parents. It was more so about these kids trying to find this method of escapism because the mundanity of normal everyday life was just really overwhelming. And this movie also portrays like something really cool, and it's like the dichotomy of people who become exactly like their parents and the people who want nothing but to not be like their parents. Like it shows the home life of those two polar opposites, and I thought that was really interesting. Because I found, and this isn't going to be for everybody, but I found that a lot of people either really identify with their parents or they really despise them and want to be nothing like them. Or maybe they don't despise them, but they don't agree with them on like anything. Or if you're like me, you really identify with one parent and then maybe don't see eye to eye with the other parent. Basically what I'm saying is I like the way the movie portrayed your inner feelings towards your parents, whichever end of the spectrum that you fall on. And the movie also shows the fact that like, you know what, you may be able to become a man, but even if you do, you're still not perfect. And with that imperfection comes also responsibilities. And there was just so many different themes throughout the movie that I totally understood. And honestly, when I was a little bit younger, I was struggling with the fact that like, okay, I'm not a boy anymore because I've graduated high school and I have bills and I pay my bills. But certain things you're not 100% mature about, so you're not quite a man yet. So the leap from childhood to adulthood may not be as abrupt as this movie kind of portrays it, but I personally do believe that there is a certain like aha moment where you realize I'm not anywhere near where I was before. I am not a child anymore. Those days are gone. And a lot of coming of age movies just kind of like miss the mark when it comes to that kind of thing, but I thought this movie hit it super hard. And I loved the way the movie ended, and there's also a little post-credit scene which I thought was kind of cute. Overall, I loved this movie, highly recommend it. Not 100% sure if women will identify with it as much as men will, but I personally would say it's worth a watch for pretty much anybody. So overall score for this movie, solid 9.0 out of 10. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Check it out online if you can find it. But anyway, kids, those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Have you seen or heard of this movie? Drop in the comments. Let me know what's up. Besides that, if you like this review, give me a like, subscribe, all that other bullshit. Keep an eye out for my Kong Skull Island review, and I will catch you guys later.